Welcome to Trippy Commentaries and our WWE RAW reactions. We are going to cover an epic episode of Raw tonight. It's crazy how much stuff happened. Tonight's Raw was the follow-up to last night's WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view where John Cena won his 15th WWE Championship. We have a lot to get to. I am joined by Corey, who is coming in from Hartford, Connecticut, the site of tonight's Raw. Also the home of WrestleMania 11 and not far from the WWE corporate offices, which is right there in Stanford. Corey, what's up, man?
Man, this was an excellent episode tonight of Monday Night Raw. It was action-packed from start to finish. We saw very little in the way of, lowlights and bad segments or bad matches, and we saw a lot of great matches and great segments. It was very, very exciting for sure.
Yep, and definitely have a lot to talk about. I can't wait to talk about a couple things in particular with you, Corey. We have a big event coming, WWE Battleground, the next pay-per-view, which will be taking place here in Tampa, Florida, where I am right now recording this from. I have my tickets. I will be going with Retro Brett, who unfortunately is MIA tonight. We don't know where he is. He could possibly be held captive at the Wyatt compound. But enough of that. Let's just get right into tonight's Raw because there's so much to get into. In fact, the night started off with really loud CM Punk chants. I thought that was crazy. The crowd just will not let that go. Daniel Bryan's injury was the topic where, of course, you had the Authority, Triple H, and his wife Stephanie McMahon coming out. They were still putting him down. Daniel Bryan sounds like he'll be out even longer. They also debuted the cover of WWE 2K15. John Cena is on the cover, the new champ. Corey, a lot of announcements made right away with the Authority coming out.
Yeah, they opened up the show, and Stephanie made sure to mention that she was born in Hartford, and nobody cared. As you said, we heard right off the bat a huge CM Punk chant, and of course the Authority then talked about Daniel Bryan's recovery taking longer than expected, and how he's a B-plus player. Of course, how Seth Rollins last night made history whenever he won the Money in the Bank contract in the big ladder match. Triple H talked about the championship ladder match and how John Cena won, and he basically praised Cena as being a A-plus player and brought John Cena out to mixed reaction, of course, which was better than usual though. Cena was kind of oddly wearing both titles snapped together behind his neck. It's something unique. Definitely a cool way to wear both the belts. Cena basically said that Daniel Bryan, he basically told Daniel Bryan himself that while the Authority won't give him a chance to regain the title down the road that he never lost, John Cena will, and he hopes that Daniel Bryan recovered soon. We heard huge yes chants. Stephanie, of course, then announced, as you said, that Cena would be the cover boy of WWE 2K15, which is a game here at Trippy Commentaries that we're definitely looking forward to. We will be covering in the future. John Cena then went on to say, thanks, it's an honor, but something's not right. The Authority was being way too nice too soon, too complimentary to John Cena. He saw the look on their faces last night whenever he won the match and then showed a snapshot from the pay-per-view. I thought Cena was good on the mic here, man. Cena's pretty well always good, whether you like him or not, whenever it comes to talking. Triple H went on to say that it doesn't bother him that Cena's champ as long as he does it with respect, or else all of the hype can go away in an instant. And he can do things the hard way or the easy way. Cena went on to say that he would do things the hard way as he has always done. He's no stooge. So then Triple H, in a shocking announcement to start off Raw, said the hard way it is. And at Battleground, John Cena will defend the WWE Championship in a fatal four-way match against Randy Orton, Kane, and Roman Reigns. And tonight, he also announced that John Cena and Roman Reigns in tag team action would take on Randy Orton and Kane in the main event. RJ, I have to ask you here right off the bat, man. What are your thoughts about how long possibly John Cena's 15th reign here could possibly last? And as somebody who's going to be going to Battleground, and of course you're obviously excited, as we all are, what are your thoughts on this big main event being made right out of the chute here, coming out of Money in the Bank?
Yeah, I was shocked that they would name it so early. You'd think Cena would have some title matches here in between, but they didn't go that route at all. They went and just named the match right off the bat. Of course, I knew as soon as Cena grabbed that championship, or I guess both championship belts last night, that, you know, I would end up seeing him as the title holder at the next pay-per-view. But I didn't think we'd find out the match so fast. I feel great that they did announce Roman Reigns in the match. The fact that he has a legit chance here is awesome. Now we have Randy Orton back in the match, and we all know that Kane's in there to be his bodyguard. This is a fact. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of pans out, especially with tonight's match where you had Reigns and Cena versus Orton and Kane. That was the main event tonight. So that's just going to be a crazy match to watch. You know, our Reigns and Cena kind of have to team up at first, and then maybe it'll come down to them. That's going to be a huge match, and it's something we have to talk about a lot leading up to the event. But once again, Corey, last night, I don't think Kane was interested at all in the championship. He didn't he didn't care. And I see it being the same here in the upcoming Battleground event. I just don't think Kane's going to really care about the championship. His goal is to have Orton win the championship.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It seems that Kane is just a henchman for the Authority at this point.
Yeah.
And is basically there to ensure that their thoughts on what's best for business actually goes through and happens. So time will tell.
Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the very first match of the night. It was Seth Rollins. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Sorry, Seth. I meant Mr. Money in the Bank versus RVD. We got to see some really good fighting skills here. These are two of my favorite fighters. And Seth Rollins has one of the best finishers going right now at the curb stomp. This was an excellent match, C-Dub.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Both these guys, of course, were in the Money in the Bank contract match last night. As you said, Seth Rollins came through and won it. These two guys, this was a matchup from last week, actually, that was another great match. And I thought this match tonight was really good, too. As I said last week, Seth Rollins reminds me a lot of a young Rob Van Dam in the fact that they both have a really similar, unique offense as far as it's something you don't see with a lot of other guys in the company. It's kind of a mix of the high flying with the groundwork and the high impact, strikes and moves.
Yeah.
We heard the RVD got a great reaction tonight, and we even heard an ECW chant from the crowd, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of crazy martial arts-like strikes in this match from both Rollins and RVD. They had a couple cool exchanges where they were really kicking the crap out of each other. At one point, we saw Rob Van Dam hit a standing moonsault, which, I mean, come on, man. That is so impressive.
Oh, yeah.
RVD coming out there, wrestling like he's 10 years younger than he is. Definite props to him for not, phoning it in there as some part-timers in his situation do. It was a good back-and-forth match, man. This was a super hot opener. It was full of action. It definitely keeps the viewer interested. As we saw last night at the pay-per-view with the Usos versus the Wyatts and tonight, if you get that hot opener to start it off and get the crowd off on the right foot, it definitely can carry through the night. We saw a lot of cool pinning combinations from Rob Van Dam and a lot of cool reversals of those from Seth Rollins. I like the fact that this match revolved around getting the pin and getting the victory. That's one of the things that you need to have. Definitely here it was really cool to finish. RVD goes for a 5-star frog splash. Rollins rolls out. RVD jumps out to the floor anyways. Our first "This is awesome" chant. Rollins comes back in, hits the curb stomp out of nowhere, and gets the pin on RVD in a great match.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing we have to praise here at Trippy Commentaries, we are thrilled about the return of post-match interviews. Man, that's awesome. Pretty classic. And one thing we saw in Seth Rollins' post-match interview with, of course, Renee Young, we saw Dean Ambrose interrupt him and say that whenever Seth Rollins goes to try to cash in that Money in the Bank contract that he's holding, he will be there to stop him every time. And we might get a taste of that later on tonight. That's for sure. We will not. That was not the last we saw of Seth Rollins tonight, and we'll have to bring him back up a little bit later on in Raw reactions. Then we saw Jack Swagger come out, of course, with Zeb Coulter. Of course, Rusev had a challenge. Corey, this was a very interesting event here that happened between the Russian and the American here, I guess you can call him.
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to say hello to anyone out there who is any of our viewers from Russia. Hello from the USA. Thank you so much for watching. We saw Lana come out tonight and say that America was accustomed to failure. We heard loud USA chants. It made Lana and Rusev angry. And I don't know about you, but I think Lana's kind of hot whenever she's angry.
Hell yeah.
And then, of course, we saw a weekly Vladimir Putin cameo, which is becoming an ongoing meme of sorts. Rusev basically came out and said, who will stop Rusev? Who is America's next big failure? We saw Jack Swagger come out, and we saw, this had to be the biggest surprise of the night for me. Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter got a huge reaction. Definite props to Zeb Coulter for coming out there and getting the crowd involved. He got everybody cheering for Swagger and Zeb for pretty much the first time ever. He had all the people stand and say, we the people. We heard a lot of great USA chants. You know, RJ, maybe it's just the 4th of July thing that they're going for. We saw Swagger get the best of Rusev. Could this be something that we see that's going to hold water going in the future for Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter, or is this just a one-night patriotic 4th of July season type thing? What do you think?
I have to think it is. I mean, we've seen this American theme from so many wrestlers before, and it doesn't always go over well, funny enough. Of course, in this case, it really did. That was the loudest We the People chant I've ever heard. I'm sure, you know, that's probably the loudest one ever. And I'm sure that...
It definitely has to be, man.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see this match probably in Battleground.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I definitely see this being a Battleground matchup. One thing I want to point out quickly here, man. This proves to you one thing, that the presence of a manager in pro wrestling is something it's kind of been a lost art in recent years. Tonight, this was proven that managers do have a place and they do have an importance in the show. For somebody like Jack Swagger, who's not so hot on the mic but decent in the ring, it can make or break you. And tonight, it seemed like Zeb made Jack Swagger all over again. I'm looking forward to seeing these two big powerhouses battle it out, perhaps, at Battleground.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about that, because even though there is some hype here, some people seem to think that Swagger could be the very first WWE superstar to knock off Rusev. I mean, Rusev's undefeated here. Is it Swagger that's going to be the first one to knock him out? I don't think so, but he certainly has some momentum, and after tonight, you have to think that the people who are in charge of the WWE are thinking it through, that's for sure. Swagger could be on the rise, or this could be an anomaly. I guess we'll find out. There was an interesting match tonight here, Corey. The Usos teamed up with Sheamus. The Usos looked ridiculously good last night. I have to say, I'm starting to get extremely impressed with Jimmy Uso, and maybe one day he can actually get some singles fights under him. But they faced off with the Wyatt family, one of our favorites around here at Trippy Commentaries. We saw Harper land a huge clothesline on Jimmy, which gave them the victory. But it was a great match, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, man. It started off really hot with some great back-and-forth action. At one point, we saw Sheamus dive off the top rope to the floor onto the Wyatts. That was crazy. That got our second "This is awesome" chant of the night. This was the third good segment in a row here. This whole first hour, dude, so hot. They came right out of the gate with all their best, or not all, but some of their best wrestlers, and really got the crowd into it. At one point, we saw Eric Rowan get Sheamus in the patented Sergeant Slaughter Atomic Noogie, where, of course, he places his fist into the temple of one Sheamus and basically squeezes until Sheamus submits. However, he did not. We saw basically a sea of ginger in that exchange between Rowan and Sheamus. Wyatt got back in, and of course got the upper hand. At one point, playing maestro with the crowd and leading them in singing. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Oh, Bray Wyatt.
Yes. We saw a great finish here. Sheamus hits the Brogue Kick. One of the Usos then dives to the outside. Bray Wyatt comes up behind Sheamus and hits a sidewalk or a Uranagi slam onto Sheamus. And then one of the Usos chased him out, and Wyatt sort of ducked out. And then Harper cuts off the Uso with a huge clothesline to get the pinfall.
Yep.
RJ, do you think maybe we might see the rematch between the Usos and the Wyatt family at Battleground for the tag team titles?
I certainly hope so. I mean, that was a great match. I was wrong in my prediction. I thought, because I mean, the Wyatt family, they are so powerful here, and the Usos, I think that last night was as good as they've ever looked, and they possibly could get even better, which means a rematch between those two tag teams would be freaking awesome. And I fully expect that, because I really don't think there are any other tag teams that can contend with the Usos all of a sudden. I mean, can you think of any tag teams that could take away the title other than the Wyatt followers right now, C-Dub?
Well, right now, the other main tag teams we have are Stardust and Goldust, of course, who faced Rybaxel again tonight. We'll quickly glaze over that now. They won. Not a lot to mention there.
Terrible.
Other than that, that's really all the tag teams we've got going in the WWE right now. And I certainly agree with your outlook that the Wyatts and the Usos are most definitely the best. They're both young, and all of them have very bright futures in the tag team division and possibly in singles competition.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose to make a tag team duo once again, but it sounds like Dean Ambrose is a little bit too busy with Seth Rollins to care about that, and Roman Reigns is worried about the championship. He does not care about the tag team championship right now, that's for sure. We had a pointless appearance by Bo Dallas, telling the injured superstars to, of course, Bo leave. I really don't, I guess they're just trying to get him to come off as corny there, but we'll see what happens to Bo Dallas next. Also, the Funkadactyls were involved with a handicap match here against Nikki Bella, but they did win, not surprisingly. The only weird thing about that is they're still slowly progressing with this splitting of the Funkadactyls. You could tell that their team chemistry was starting to not look so good there, but for now they defeated Nikki Bella, and they're still around. We'll see what happens next week. Michael Cole came out next and announced a huge battle royal to determine the new Intercontinental Champion. We all know that Bad News Barrett was the Intercontinental Champion. He had some bad news, shoulder separation. He's going to be out for a while. Corey, I thought this was a massive announcement. Go ahead and let us know who's in this battle royal so far at the end of part 1 here.
Yeah, thus far we heard announced that Cesaro would be entered into this battle royal, who, of course, he won the big Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania. Also, his opponent for tonight, which we'll get into in part 2, Kofi Kingston, will also be in there. And there's a couple other guys that we're going to have to mention who are going to be in this IC title battle royal, which, of course, is now for the vacant title at Battleground. We'll definitely get into those in part 2. We saw a lot of more action tonight. Definitely stay tuned, guys. Make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe and check everything out. Definitely stay tuned for part 2 here. We're going to recap all the rest of the great action from hour 2 and 3 of Monday Night Raw tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a crazy announcement. That was shocking to me. I mean, we knew that Bad News Barrett was most likely going to be stripped here, but to make it a battle royal, another huge match that they've already announced for the upcoming pay-per-view Battleground held in Tampa. So we'll see who comes out on top. Could it be possibly Kofi Kingston, and possibly, we know, Cesaro with Paul Heyman as his manager. they definitely have a great shot at coming out on top. I'm RJ for C-Dub. Stick around for part 2, guys. We'll see you there.